All right, good afternoon. So I still see some people taking their desserts, so that's fine. So again, thank you, Madam, sa introduction. That was practically my CV that you you went over with. So again, I'm Christian Go. I'm from DHL, so I'm here to talk about sustainability efforts from the company. Now, I'll be discussing in the next couple of slides where we are presently terms of our sustainability efforts and where we want to be. So these are sharing of actual and best practices that we have in the company. So let's go. Okay, so this is the timeline of where we were. 2008, I believe, was the year wherein we set a focus on sustainability as a business strategy. So we launched Go Green as our way of pushing it forward. And you can see that over the years, the strategy has evolved. No? So the last update that we had was in way back in 2021, we came up with the zero emissions mission, wherein our plan really is by 2050, as a group, DHL would be already operating zero emissions across all our businesses. No? You'll see that in other countries where DHL has business with, Europe, we already have operations where we achieve this. In Asia, it's not the same story because we're still trailing some of these companies and operations that we have. Say, for example, in Poland, we do have operations that are already running full electric, but in the Philippines, it's only partial. No? All right. Okay, so for us, sustainability is not just a marketing tagline, but a continuing business strategy. So we have these ESG pillars from the business, looking at three things, right? Clean operations, a company that people would want to work with, and more on the governance side as well. So Go Green is still a continuing product that we have. We have Go Trade. Go Help is more on the services and the CSR activities that we have. No? But wait, I think I jumped one. Oh, okay. There you go. So, as a strategy, we are aiming to electrify at least 60% of our fleet. No? In the Philippines, we've started purchasing electric vehicles for the express operations. But the goal is at least 60% of our entire business runs on electric vehicles by 2030. But it's not all about the EV purchases. No? So EV is just one side of the sustainability efforts. There are other things that we have to consider. One is the use of technology, network optimizations, and this is where the infrastructure comes in. No? Earlier, we had lots of speakers telling us what are the future projects, and I was very, very happy to know that these road projects are underway because this will also help us with our operations. So it's technology. We're also training drivers because apparently in some of our operations in Southeast Asia, we've seen that the driver's driving behavior affects also the way we consume fuel when it comes to efficiency. So these other things we're looking at, it's easy to invest in electric vehicles. So that's one thing. Right now, they're very, very expensive, which could be a barrier also for companies like us to go full scale investing. But again, as our goal is really to push that beyond 2030, and hopefully by 2050 we reach that goal of zero emissions. So in summary, the things that we've done is to establish that mission 2050 to be full zero carbon emissions. I think in the aviation sector, we have already implemented the usage of sustainable aviation fuel. So I guess that's also a possible opportunity for the private sector, government to explore, is that if we can develop also SAFs as a means to help reduce carbon emissions, because we have this focus when we talk about carbon emissions, it's always about the land vehicles, the trucks, but we're not looking at aviation that much here, but in other countries that's already being implemented. Okay, so for us, green transport is more than just efficiency in operations, more than just a branding tool for us, but it's also doing our part in climate control, right? We have noticed these past few weeks and months that the weather is very, very unpredictable, and this is a result of climate change. So for us to be able to continue doing business in the future, not just for us, not just for our customers also, but for our children, is really to take it as a part of a larger mission to help curb these changes in the environment. All right, so Green Freight, very recently a certification when it comes to emissions. Yeah, I'll skip this one. Okay, so Project Jupiter was also one of the things that we did a few years back. It was a series of workshops that we did to establish first the baseline of our consumption. So I guess the first thing that we had to do was to understand how big our consumption is, how much are we really contributing when it comes to carbon emissions. So it's not for the Philippine scenario. It's not just to totally eliminate first emissions, but to find ways to burn less. So burn less is looking at also design of your equipment. In Europe, you'll see trailers that have teardrop design. So aerodynamics also plays a big part in burning less. The burn clean segment here is probably still far from where we want to be. So this whole Project Jupiter timeline is conservatively is probably 10 to 15 years from now using the Philippine setting. So we have to take steps one at a time to understand first how we can reduce it, because going to zero emissions is a very, very difficult task. Even for us, it's quite aggressive. 2050 is only 26 years from now. So that's actually, for us, it's quite short to be able to run this, no? And which is why we need the private sector and the government also working together in reaching this goal. Okay, some of the highlights in recent DHL operations would be putting in not just the purchase of electric vehicles. As I've mentioned, it's easy to buy electric vehicles, but there are many constraints to why a company might not be able to invest right away. So 2 weeks ago, I was in Japan to visit an EV manufacturer. And when we try to compute the landed cost to the Philippines, even with all the incentives that the government is giving us, when you bring in your EVs, an ordinary six-wheel closed van EV would end up, at least for that brand, is about 5.7 million, right? So it's quite pricey. From a financial standpoint, maybe ROI is not very attractive for a company to invest right away. So you have trailers. So I've mentioned that the design of the trailers is also one key thing that we're not looking into here. Because if you go to NLEX or SLEX, you'll see trucks that they still have or occupy, even the 10-wheeler wing vans, they still have the same design as they were before. But in other countries, they're already factoring in that teardrop design. And that design alone saves about 10 to 12% fuel efficiency. So that's another thing. Sustainable fuels. So I believe for local truck fuels, we do have some ethanol blends already, but we'll have to look at the sustainable aviation fuels because that's a big contributor to the carbon emissions that we don't really talk about each day. Okay, so Asia Pacific right now we have close to about 300 EVs deployed in different operations. In the Philippines, we have about 30 right now. Some are deployed in our Clark operations, but majority it's in Metro Manila. From what I've read is that we are also planning, we have a planned order of additional EVs for end of the year. But our approach is really more conservative because the challenge that we have for EVs is that the technology is still new. We don't want to deploy it large scale yet. The brands are still quite limited. Battery technology is not yet 100% polished. So the EV investments that we have for the businesses here in the Philippines is still gradual. We'll ramp it up next year, but it's for our own operations. But you'll see in countries like Australia, we're also experimenting on other possible alternatives to EV. So it's not pure electric. There are hybrid vehicles. There are hydrogen vehicles, which is quite advanced, and the handling of hydrogen is not very polished yet. So it's still a very new realm for us. It's something that the proper mix of how we look at our fleet operations on where we want to be is an ongoing thing. It could change. So we're not all tied up with electric vehicles because the other aspect that we were looking at in deploying EVs is that the source of the electricity, right? You may be operating an EV, but if the source of the electricity, where you charge it from, doesn't really come from green sources, then it's sort of defeats also the purpose, right? So it's still very new, and there is support from the government for us to push to deploy more EVs. But it's something that we will still need to develop even more because in Europe, I believe we have to be able to invest in electric vehicles. We get carbon credits, and these carbon credits are in turn we use as offset credits, and we reinvest it back to these technologies. No? But we don't have that yet in the Philippines for now. Okay, so this is just a slide that shows you how we should be doing it. So establishing first your carbon, you need to know first how much emissions per year, tonnage or kilograms, are you really contributing? And then from there, that's where you should start chopping it down on where you can actually reduce it. Because it's difficult to implement CO2 reduction measures if you don't know where your baseline is. Okay, so this would be my last slide. As I've mentioned, the EV investments for DHL will still continue this year. So we have about 30 new vehicles coming by Q3 to Q4. We also have our very first carbon neutral built-to-suit warehouse in Santa Rosa, Laguna. It is carbon neutral in the sense that it generates also electricity by itself. There's a rainwater collection system. The MHEs that we use are all electric. So it's the first time that we did an investment of this scale in the Philippines, because in other countries, I believe in Malaysia, their carbon neutral warehouse, they already have about 7. But for the Philippines, this is the first one. And then we also offer Go Green Plus shipments. So here in Clark, we do have freight forwarding operations. And one of the things that we offer also to our customers is the option to have or ride with a resource that uses sustainable fuel. So for example, we have a regular customer that can afford or can spare additional few percent increase in the rates just so that they can also hit their sustainability measure. So we already have that option for customers wherein we offer them a Go Green lane or the regular lane. Because I think from CRK, we do not have freighter operations yet, as mentioned by Sir Noel earlier. But we do take up a lot of belly space for the BSAs. The cargoes, shipments that we exit from Clark using the commercial carriers. So some of the carriers, they already have this option, some do not. So that is where we are planning to go to. That eventually we can offer our customers all of these Go Green solutions, right? So in the end, for us, what matters really is full transparency. Sustainability is something that goes beyond competitors. We talk about it with our other 3PLs. We may be competitors in the business, in 3PL, contract logistics, warehousing. But sustainability is a responsibility for all. And we need to push this because we're running out of time. We're already experiencing the effects of not prioritizing this in the past 20 years. And we have to double our efforts when it comes to sustainability. So that's all for me.